Sakamoto and Rory McKernan are here as we get set to talk about the age groups. And we are all members of the Masters community. You'll put a little asterisk by you because you are kind of a baby master. But every time I look at the Masters community, and the teenagers too, I'm not going to leave them out of this. You look at the numbers, and it's incredible because the stuff that they're doing just a couple of years ago would be considered great for the individuals.
Right, and really I think what we're looking at is the future of CrossFit in both ways, right? We're looking at the young kids that are coming up that are going to be the competitors in the individual in the individual division soon, and we're also looking at where a lot of us are heading.
Well, yeah, and
more and more so every day.
I've embraced my master's, status and the gray hair, but yeah, I agree, and I got to see this year. We saw Guilherme Malheiros, pardon me, sorry, Guilherme. We saw him in 18.1. We got to see the Masters throw down in Houston.
Yeah.
And it was awesome to see that. These guys are really kind of coming into their own, and I think that the Masters in particular, being on the weekend last year, it's a whole new thing and more competitive than ever.
Yeah.
Here's a look at the individuals who won their respective age groups, and there are some very familiar names. Kayla Stefano is a name we've mentioned in the teenager competition. Have more on her in a second. Samantha Briggs, of course, is going to win the 35 to 39-year-old division for the women. Stephanie Waugh, 40 to 44-year-old division. She'll be dealing with old Annie Sakamoto here, so it's going to be a great competition to watch. Cheryl Bross, got Bill Grundler, and then David Hippensteel, a guy that we've certainly mentioned a lot as well. So some familiar names winning the age groups. But in that 16 to 17-year-old division with Kayla Stefano, you talk about the future of the sport, where the future might be now, because there's a very good chance that Kayla Stefano and Haley Adams square off at regionals.
Right, so Kayla is 16th in the Southeast region, so she already does qualify for regionals. Haley Adams is just 2 spots out, which there's a good chance that she also will end up with an invite to regionals. So these 2 ladies could end up at the Atlantic Regional going head-to-head. 2 ladies that will most definitely qualify to also go head-to-head in the games already. Now, Haley has already, Kayla has beat Haley twice now at the games. Haley, though, has the advantage going into regionals. She has competed at regionals last year. I think she got about 14th in the Atlantic Regional. Kayla was competing in lifting, so that's why we didn't see her. This could be a fun little race to watch.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's the first time that Kayla's actually beaten Haley in the Open. Usually it's the other way around during online qualifier and during the Open. So it'd be cool to see that. But you said what's cool about these age groups? Well, it's the future. So these girls have a 3-year head-to-head competition, a battle going on. Now they're about to be individual competitors. They'll take that into the future, and we'll see them hopefully for decades to come.
I cannot wait to see what this generation that has grown up with the teens competition is going to be capable of when they get into their 20s and they really hit their athletic peak. The women's 40 to 44-year-old division, you finished 3rd last year. The champion was Helen Harding. Now Stephanie Waugh, the 35 to 39-year-old champion, she won that division at the games as a 39-year-old, ages up into the 40 to 44-year-old division. It's going to be a good battle there between her and Harding, and I know you're going to get in that mix too.
For sure, but looking at Stephanie Waugh, I mean, like you said, she won the age division at 39 years old, and not only did she win it at 39, she beat out Rebecca Voigt, and Rebecca Voigt to me is just, I mean, but to me, Rebecca Voigt is one of the most solid, well-rounded athletes there is, and just to think that she beat them out, she's proven, she's been at the games. This isn't a name that we're seeing for the first time on some online qualifiers where we're not quite sure how she's going to respond once she's under the lights, right? And then, of course, Helen Harding. I mean, she has been a force to be reckoned with in our age group thus far. I've been talking to her recently, just kind of as we were closing out the Opens, and she is excited, I think, to compete again in the Masters, but really her heart right now, her drive is to return to regionals. She's really excited about doing regionals this year and to see if she could qualify as a Master in the individual division.
Yeah, and Stephanie Waugh is in that same boat. She could possibly go into
She finished
the regionals
41st
as well. Yeah.
worldwide.
That's incredible stuff. On the men's side of things, in the same age group, you have Shawn Ramirez, who has won the 40 to 44-year-old division every year he's been in it. So he's going for the 5-peat now this year. However, Neil Maddox now gets himself into that division, and this is the first time, I think, that we've seen a former individual competitor now get into the 40 to 44-year-old division. I mean, that is going to be a great battle.
Hey, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
I hadn't said that yet. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be an amazing race. Like you said, Ramirez has owned this division since the year after its inception. So it's basically synonymous with his name. But now he's towards the end of the division, and in comes Neil Maddox. Now, Ramirez, to his credit, he has more second-place finishes than any man or woman or child in the history of the CrossFit Games. That's a huge accolade. He's got top 2s. He's got 25 of them. It's amazing. 32 event top 5s, and last year he really had to make his money. There was a newcomer, Robbie Perovich, another young man, who gave him a run for his money, and he had to make it work. But in comes Neil Maddox, a 7-time competitor at the CrossFit Games, 6 times as an individual with home run potential. The guy can win events. We saw him this year in the Open, and if you didn't think that he looked like he was peaked at that point in time, I think you're tripping.
Well, and I'm sure he's hungry after taking second place
Yeah,
last
that's a really
year,
good point.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think that sat well with Neil.
Yeah, so my brain goes with Neil. My heart goes with Ramirez
Ramirez shows
because
up on
I'm a
game day,
dad.
man.
Hey,
Yeah.
his son qualified for the CrossFit Games. Oh, sorry, for the online qualifier. His son qualified for the online qualifier. That's pretty damn cool.
They're going to
So
get
he's
to
got-
do it together.
That's
Yeah.
right. They're gonna
As
do
a
it together.
master and
Yep.
a team.
Speaking of the age group online qualifier, those workouts will be announced on April 19th. So that's when the age group online qualifier
ready?
Soon,
comes down
soon.
the pipe.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely looking forward to seeing what they have cooked up for that. Let's go over to Tommy Marquez one final time to go inside the leaderboard for the community at large here in 18.5.
Not just the community, Shawn, the Masters athletes, and I guess since I'm the only non-Masters athlete who isn't half on the grave of the
Okay.
UPJ show team,
Poor Tommy.
I got to
Too
represent
old
for
to
the
be good,
individuals.
too young to have his own leaderboard.
Oh, come on, man. Hey, I don't need my own leaderboard to finish first in our office
Oh,
row. So,
okay.
Hey, just saying that. But still, nonetheless, I wanted to provide maybe some compelling stats for the age groups as well, some things that stood out to me. More specifically, the amount of age group people that decided to scale this last workout, maybe compared to weeks past. The left column is a breakdown of athletes that chose to scale 18.5, percentage-wise amongst all the Masters men, women, all the teenage boys, and girls. The right column is the same scaling numbers for 18.4, and most notably, in every division, fewer athletes chose to scale 18.5, and 18.5 was the second least scaled workout of the Open behind 18.2. I personally think it's awesome that a larger percentage of these divisions chose to do a workout of this nature as prescribed compared to previous weeks, which is a pretty strong way to close out the Open this year. Now, for the community as a whole, well, they finished strong as the average scores for both the men and the women saw a nice little increase when compared to the average scores way back when 2012, which is the last time we saw this workout. Now, if you finish the round of 15, which is the rep equivalent of Fran, then give yourself some props, as less than half of all men and just a smidge more than maybe a quarter of all women finished that round of 15. So that's a pretty nice benchmark for those of you who got past it. And if you got to the round of 24, well, you're an elite company. Only 405 athletes reached the round of 24, which is about 0.1% of all athletes that took on 18.5. So that's certainly some impressive performances right there. And speaking of finishing the Open strong, I want to give you guys, Shawn, Annie, and Ro, some props for doing well in this workout. Annie said she improved by 10 reps. Ro, you beat 2012 Ro by 2 reps. And you did the workout at what, like 1 in the morning
Yes,
in
that
ice
is
cap
true, yeah.
after 5 long weeks. And Shawn, you didn't do the Open in 2012. But you broke that 90 rep barrier, so that means you did chest to bar Fran in less than 7 minutes. So
all right.
I don't care what
Take
Pat
that.
I don't care what Pat Sherwood says. You guys still got some fight left in you, so congrats.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah,
man.
thank you very much, Tommy. I'm glad that we ended that on a positive note.